Okay, today is day 16 of our barn house bathroom renovation, and we are right at the finish line. We are so close to being done. Yesterday we got all the tile done in the shower here. Turned out pretty awesome. We still got to caulk the corners and along the bottom where it meets the shower pan, but other than that, it's just about done. I also went throughout the rest of the room and caulked all the seams that needed it, filled in nail holes. Today we're going to be touching up all of those. And then I also need to hook up all the plumbing under the sink. And then after that, there's just a few minor things. Install a toilet, which is pretty simple, and then like shelving, and I still have to build a mirror, and this thing is just about done. So anyway, let me hop to it. All right, I decided to start with the sink, and it should go fairly smoothly. So I'm hooking up the water lines, and I just kind of guesstimated I got water lines longer than old ones. I bought 16-inch, and look at that, so close. It's like a finger's width. It's too short, about 3/4 of an inch. So that means I gotta go to Menards first thing before I even get started today and buy new water lines. So that's how today's going. All right, I just got back from Menards and I went ahead and grabbed some 20-inch lines because I had 16 earlier, so now these are gonna fit. But before I put them on there, I did notice that when I was sanding all of the drywall that I didn't cap these off or put anything over them, so they got a little drywall in there. So I'm gonna try to just clean them out a little bit first, just in case there's any dust in there. I don't want it to like build up and like maybe possibly clog my water lines, so do that. But these are pretty simple. They got a little rubber gasket in there. You just twist them on and put them on just a little bit tighter than hand tight, and they should be good to go. I got it hooked up top already. Once I put these on, I'll start working with the plumbing. Now our old plumbing line is 1.5 inches over here, but our new drain is 1.25 inches. So all the piping I had originally bought was all 1.5 inches. So I had to, when I bought these lines, I went and bought 1.25 inches, and I got a new trap, and then I found this little tiny adapter that will adapt 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. So it should go by pretty smooth. Okay, so now that the water lines are in, I'm hooking up the drain, and this has not been a fun process so far. So first of all, the little thing that adjusts the little stopper, I had to cut it short because it didn't work. It has to attach to this thingy, which goes up to a little bar you pull behind the faucet, which is really close to the wall. It barely fits. So anyway, when you put this thing up, it attaches to this little bar. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little clip. Well, I just dropped the clip, and the way that we cut our thingy, there's just a little bit of a slit in there, and apparently it is not magnetic, so our magnet's not working. So I've been sitting here for 10 minutes trying to reach it with this thing, trying to pull it out. So I can hear it in there, but it ain't coming out. Oh man. So it'll eventually get out, and then I'll show you what this thing looks like when it's hooked up. All right, and there we go. I got it all hooked up. That little tiny bent clip right here is what fell, but I got it all hooked up. So now check it out. It actually works. So it's now closed, and you push that little thing up here, and it opens up. This is an eBay faucet. Look cool, but man, this thing's not built very well. So you can see that when it comes up here, it's like loose, and it like touches the wall. I mean, I don't like that, but it does work. So, oh well, we'll just go with it. So previously I mentioned that our drain in the wall is a 1.5 inch, and the drain out of the sink is a 1 1/4. So I had previously bought a bunch of pipes that fit in 1.5 inch. You know, they fit right in, and then there's a little nut that goes on. Put the P-trap, no big deal. But I couldn't figure out how to join them together. So when I went to Menards, I ended up just rebuying all of this in 1 1/4 inch. So you can see it's a little bit smaller and it fits real nice. And they had this really cool, you know, this is one of the little nuts that goes on the end of these, and wait, where is it? Here it is. Okay, so all they have is, instead of 1.5 inch ring, there's one that's just a little bit fatter that just bumps it down to 1 1/4 inch. So I thought that was pretty smart. So now I can actually just hook it right up into there, and it fits real nice and tight when I put a nut on there, and let's do all 1 1/4 inch. No big deal. So I'll hook this up. It has a little P-trap that comes down like this, and then I'll have to drop this down a little bit, and then there's another line that will come up, something like this, okay? And just hook it all together, and I'll probably have to chop a little short piece to fit in between here, but it shouldn't be too big a deal, and I'll have this set up. I think it's gonna be a lot easier than figuring out that thing in the back of the drain. So here's how I'm gonna set it up. I have my little P-trap that I bought, and I have a 12-inch extension here, which I probably could have got away with a 6-inch maybe. And I also have a 12-inch extension here. So I put it in, and I kept it a little loose so we can adjust it. And then I can slide here to make it fit, and we have to come back this way too. That's kind of why we have a cabinet here at the doors, because it's a really weird drain. Instead of just going out the back here, they went out the side. Now I could do a crazy drain that goes back here to save room, but I have these parts. We're not going to put a lot of stuff under here. So all I was going to do, you can kind of see this pipe really needs to come down to this line right here, and it kind of wants to slope this way. So I want to make sure that it kind of goes this way, so any water that does go through here will eventually go into the drain. So I'm just going to kind of line this up. And there we go, make a mark there, and I'll take this piece off and cut it. It should be able to slide in there, and I just put a nut to one of these little washer things right here. This right here. And then I should be able to slide one of these things right here on there with the nut and tighten it on, and it should be ready to go. We should be able to turn it on, and hopefully water don't go everywhere or dump out here. I guess we'll find out. So I got it cut, and I put the last nut on there, and the drain is actually, I think, fairly simple. You can see I have the little P-trap. This is a little catch all your gunk, or if you lose a wedding ring or whatever, it should hopefully stay in there. You can get out. And also, like I think I mentioned earlier, that since this is such a long run, I noticed our last one that it was kind of a little bit under level, so water would rush back this way. So I wanted it where it's always going to have water in here, but if water gets up to this point, it will definitely drain down there, so it slopes down just a little bit. So what I'll do now is we will test the water. I think I'm going to do it live on camera. Usually we test these things, but if it's going to spray water everywhere, then I think it's worth it to have it on video. Alright, so here goes nothing. I'm going to turn the water on. These are old valves down here are really tight. I had to use a wrench on them. I bought new ones to replace them, but I decided that it wasn't worth it. Ooh, I hear the water there. Alright, it's not blowing water out here, so I think we're good. Alright, man, that was awful loose. Okay. Let's see if it like blows air, or if I'm gonna get wet. Ooh. There we go. Okay. See if it drains alright. You can feel water running through. I don't see any leaks. Oh, look at that leak right there. Okay, let's fix it. Alright, so this one was loose. I tightened it up and it's not leaking anymore, but I found two more leaks. So I think this valve over here might actually be bad. You can see my fingers are getting wet, so it's leaking up here. So I was just saying just a second ago, I probably don't have to replace these, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because they're not good. Also, right up here where it meets the sink, I don't think I have that tight enough because it's leaking a little bit too. So I'll fix those, and I'm gonna have to shut the water off outside on the main to replace these, but I'll just go ahead and do it right. You can see it's already dripping water. All right, so I figured out, I looked at these old valves here, and I found a spot where I think I can tighten it just a little bit. So I tried that out, and I don't think they're leaking anymore. We're going to keep an eye on it. I didn't want to have to go through the whole mess of shutting the main water off, draining all the water, or taking these off, all that kind of stuff. Then those are probably still going to leak, and then we have to, you know, tighten them up some more. So we will keep those new valves. I won't return them just yet, and we'll keep an eye on this. And if it leaks later today, then I don't know, maybe we'll put them on. But so far, I think I actually stopped the leak, and that's good. Because I need to move on to other stuff. I'm done with this. As long as it's working, I am good with it. So now that the plumbing is taken care of and the leaks are all fine, we're going to start going through, and what I did last night, I caulked every seam. So every side of all the trim, everything has been caulked, and then I like filled in these holes with spackling. So we're going to do some touch-ups. So first thing I think we're going to do is just run the wall paint touch-ups, all right, underneath, because some of that caulk kind of turned beige when it dried. So we want to clean it up. And then once it's all dry everywhere, we will then run over the trim with the semi-gloss. So lots and lots of touch-up, but it should go by pretty quickly. So while my wife is doing that, I am going to be painting the doors. I was going to take them off the hinges and all that, but I don't want to bother with it. I think I can just put a towel under them and just paint them up as they are. I'll probably take the handles off and be about it. They're a little rough looking now with all the drywall gunk on them. So I'll have to clean them off, maybe do a little bit of sanding in spots, and then paint them with the gray, and they should be good to go. Right, so now we're just touching up the actual wall above my amateur trim work here. Just trying to make it look okay. I noticed this side of the wall, we've bumped into it a lot too, so we'll probably have to take a roller over it again, smooth it out. But this is satin paint, and then once it dries, we'll go over all the trim with the semi-gloss. On these doors, I noticed there's a few spots where some of the drywall mud kind of dripped on them and hardened, and there's a few little paint drops and stuff. So I'm just going to go over them with a real light grit sanding block just to smooth them out a little bit, and I'll wipe it down and then just put another coat of paint and it should be good. I went ahead and pulled out my door handle so I don't get paint all over it. And just touch this up. It's going on pretty easy. Alright, so we finished up all the wall touch-up, and then I was painting the door. So now we're just going to do all the trim. And this is a semi-gloss white. And last night when I was caulking this, I put 2 pieces of tape on both sides of my caulk seams to be real nice. But I left the tape on the window so that way it makes it easier to paint. I did that also next to the subway tile too, where it meets the tub. And it just saves a little time when you're painting. So now hopefully we can cover up all these nail holes we filled in. Just get a little more paint on them because some of them were a little marred up from setting tools on and things like that. So we're gonna get them all nice and crisp white right now with some paint. It should look pretty good. And then this place is almost done. We're really close now. Alright, so we're probably halfway through painting the trim now, and I gotta say, this is not very fun. If we ever do another house, I'm not putting this much trim in. And also, I was thinking, our walls are satin and our trim is semi-gloss, and in person you can't tell a difference. So I think next time if I ever did something like this, I'd just paint it all the same color, and then it'd be easier to paint. You could just slap your paint on there a lot easier. Maybe the floor trim, where it kind of collects dust, could be semi-gloss, but everything else could be satin. That's the other thing about this trim we did. We made everything. It's all 1x4, so it was cheap, but it's a little rough looking because the wood's not perfect, and it's just a flat lip with that caulk on there, so it kind of collects dust, and I don't know if I'd ever use it again or not, but we did it all throughout the house, so we're going to continue using it here. But I don't know, I think a thinner, and I used the 3/4 inch thick too, so I think a thinner trim would be a little easier to put on, and it would not stay as dirty either. It'd be easier to clean. So, oh well, we'll get this done. It's not very fun though. So we got all the touch-up done, all the trim is painted, the walls, any marks on them are all taken care of. It looks really nice now. So we're going to move into adding a few things. Got some door transitions, and probably put the toilet in, the shelves up here in the wall, and probably have to do some caulking in the shower too, in the corners and then down below. So start working on all that stuff next. Just putting in some little aluminum floor transitions, which is kind of cool looking, and it functions because the plywood floor is just a little bit taller than the floor in here, so it just makes it a little smoother looking. Alright, so I just built the toilet, had to kind of put together, put the wax ring on there. So it's stuck on real nice, so now I'm just going to set it into place and hope it goes okay. Alright, I had to get a better grip on it, but it should be good now. Over those bolts. There's one. There we go, okay. Perfect. And you just kind of wiggle it until it sits flat, it squishes that wax, and we should be good. Alright, once it's down, just bolt it down nice and tight, and then just hook up the water. Alright, so I just hooked up the water, so I'm going to turn it on. Don't see any leaks, let it fill up, and if it flushes, then awesome. Alrighty, so there we go, there's our fancy new toilet installed. Put the little chintzy plastic seat on there, and this is a dual flush. It has 2 buttons, and we won't waste water for the video, so we'll do the little button here and see if it works. Oh yeah, perfect. There we go, there's the toilet. Alright, so we got the plumbing done under the sink, the toilet installed, and we spent a huge portion of today doing all the touch-up, making sure it's alright. It looks really nice. I don't have much time, I need to quit for the night, but I want to go ahead and caulk the corners before I call it quits. So what I did is I just ran some painter's tape about 1/8 of an inch off of each side of the corner. So there's like a 1/4 inch wide little gap there now. And I'm going to fill it with this right here, this black siliconized acrylic latex elastomeric sealant. I used this downstairs in our bath down there when we did it. That was 4 years ago, and I have never had a problem with it. Maybe because of this type, it does say it's waterproof, so you know, if water gets on it, it's not going to be an issue. I have read where people have had problems, and I'm guessing that maybe theirs was not waterproof, so water kind of broke it down over time. But like I said, ours has been up there for 4 years now and never had an issue. So I'll just squirt some in the corner and then just run my finger down, smooth it out, make sure it looks nice and even, and then peel the tape and we'll have a real crisp line and it's ready to go. Check that out, coming off real nice and clean. It's covering that corner so it's nice and protected. Works pretty good. And of course I use black because we use black grout, but I'm sure you could use white or gray or whatever if you can find a color that matches. But like I said, some people recommend it, some don't. I've had no problems with it, so that's what we decided to use again. Alright, so that's it for tonight. I got the caulking and the corners done. I still got to do it down at the pan tomorrow after this stuff dries. I will hang the shelves above the toilet, and then I need to build the mirror. I'm really hoping I can get that done tomorrow because it started raining tonight. Oh man, I hope it don't rain tomorrow. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, and hopefully tomorrow we can get this thing done. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate that. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. That really helps get it out in front of other people that might like to check it out too. And if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. Keep up with more videos. And if you want to see some other projects I have some here on the screen and down in the description below as well.